Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hovercast TCG. My name is Travis Nunlist, and with me is Britt Pybus and Eric Gansman. Today, we're going to be discussing the Anaheim Regional Championship that occurred this past weekend. We're going to talk about decks that did well, the meta, and a little bit about my own personal report. So, leading up to the Anaheim event, people were a little bit skeptical about Sun and Moon cards. It didn't seem like a whole lot was going to be changed. Some people were kind of nervous that the cards weren't good enough. And it seemed like Garbodor was still had a huge stranglehold on the format. Honestly, that kind of panned out, I think. Decks like Mewtwo and Yveltal were definitely the most popular. Garbodor showed how strong it was. There wasn't a whole lot of Sun and Moon stuff that did well. I think Kukui was here and there. I saw a little bit of Lily. Actually, the second place Turbo Dark list played a Lily. I played the 1/1 Espeon GX in my Mewtwo deck. But overall, there wasn't really a whole lot of new stuff that did well.
There were a couple decks in top 32, though, right? Just like a hand, like 2 or 3 that were pretty Sun and Moon heavy, right?
Yeah. Drew Kennett's deck, the deck that he piloted was Lurantis Solgaleo. That was entirely Sun and Moon.
There was a water box deck. I'm looking at the list right now.
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about that water box deck. Yeah, that deck popped up. It played 3 Enhanced Hammers, and I think that's how he beat Vespiquen. He played 3 Enhanced Hammers and Glaceon. And
John Kettler also had a really cool deck.
Right, I knew Kettler's deck as well.
But yeah, those were the only decks with like new Sun and Moon archetypes. I guess Finnegan Lynch played Herdier, I guess, but I don't know how.
What does that do?
Influential. It's a worse Milotic, so it grabs only an item card from your discard when you evolve it.
What did he play it in?
What?
What was he playing it with?
He played it he played it in Vespiquen.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so he played it over Milotic because he wanted more HP, because Feebas only has 30 HP, and I don't even know what the Herdier's basic is called, but it has more HP. Lillipup. Okay, there we go. So yeah, it has more than 30 HP, and he was really afraid of Decidueye and Umbreon. I personally don't agree. I think Milotic's better. I don't think either of those decks.
Is Milotic still legal?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's in
Primal Clash, I think.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Milotic gets anything, like a trainer, supporter, like anything. So I think, I don't know if I
can understand it. I don't know. I've never been too fond of the Milotic card.
I agree.
I remember. I think it caught a lot of hype around Cities last year. Everyone was playing it in their Night March. It was pretty popular in Night March.
It's really popular in Raichu as well.
And there was the Raichu Bats deck with it. And I never played that Raichu Bats deck, but I always just like played Bronzong instead in my Night March lists. But I can understand why you would play it. But so I guess let's go ahead and start off with some discussion. Why do you think, or at least from what I can understand, Travis, you can, I'm sure, elaborate more on this. It seems like players, for the most part this weekend, sort of played it pretty safe. No one seemed to take real risks with their decks, and I think that's why the top 8 was pretty expected. What do you think that is, and why do you think that those couple decks that were new, that were pretty inventive, didn't make it all the way? You know, we have cool decks to talk about, but none of them made the top 8. Why do you think those sort of got the short end of the stick, and we're left with just Darkrai winning another tournament?
So I think a problem with some of the newer decks is tournaments like regionals are huge, right? You have to play a lot of games of Pokemon, and you have to set up every single game. You have to play best of 3, 14 rounds to get to top 8. You have to win most of them. I think a problem with the new Sun and Moon stuff is still like evolving is hard in Pokemon. Evolving is really hard. Like Drew's Solgaleo deck, if he won either of his last 2 rounds, he makes it into top 8. But ended up actually both of those series, he told me that he lost because he drew poorly. He said I was told that he didn't GX attack at all against Ryan in their final best of 3, and just kind of a bunch of stuff died and nothing really got going. And I think that over a long tournament like this, you kind of just see like those inconsistencies play out, especially in like the way 15 minutes best of 3 kind of works. Like if your opponent like ever gets a game off of you, just because, and also a deck like Kettler's, like they're just slow, so it's hard for you to play 3 full games of Pokemon because you have to like take a while to evolve and set stuff up and then win the game, and you can't really do that quickly like Dark can. Like Dark could lose a pretty long game 1, like the 25-minute game 1, and still finish games 2 and 3 if they like start off well enough. So I think that was another limiting factor, because actually it was Kettler versus Finnegan Lynch in the final round, and they tied. And had one of them won, I actually would have gotten 9th instead, because they would have been at 31 points, and they would have bumped me down. So I think that right there kind of is like a signifier of what I'm talking about. Like they tied their winning in because they just couldn't finish the game in the best of 3, because evolving to Decidueye and Vileplume, and then like taking the time to like Decidueye ping everything and like do 60 with Tauros, it just takes a long time.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Do you have anything else to add, Eric, or would you agree?
I was gonna say, I think another reason why a lot of the big new cards from Sun and Moon didn't make an impact is because Vespiquen actually is like really, really good now, and everyone knows it. Like a lot of these cards can't really deal with trading with a small non-EX basic. Like they can't they're not built to take 6 small prizes, knockouts. Like that's just not something they're able to do. And Vespiquen is like definitely a tier 1, if not like the best deck in the format right now. And I think just them like struggling in that matchup, I think that's another reason why we didn't see a lot of Sun and Moon cards, and just a lot of the old archetypes like Turbo Dark and Darkrai Giratina, which can beat Vespiquen.
Yeah, that's good. So sort of with that, similar topic in talking about, like tying when you don't want to, or just taking a lot of ties in a tournament. I did notice that Ross made day 2 at like 6:03, or he made day 2 at 5:04 and finished at 6:08. So one of the things I think that's missing, as far as in Pokemon content, is just like creating a narrative between tournaments. And so I want to spend a second here just to like talk about that. Talk about Ross. Ross, for those who don't know, Ross Cawthon is easily one of the like top 5 best players of all time. What do you guys think about that? What was he playing? Why did he tie so much? Is it just Ross, or was he playing something crazy? I actually don't know.
He played Mega Mewtwo, right?
It was one card off of my list.
Really?
Like X-Files, their list was the same list as mine. They cut the 4th turbo for the 3rd mail, and it's the same deck. It's 15.
They played the Espeon though?
Yeah, they played the Espeon as well.
Yeah, that's funny. I assumed when I saw that many ties, I assumed he must have just been playing some ridiculous Vileplume deck or something.
No, I think it's just a case of Ross being Ross. Right now,
because
Mega Mewtwo is a hard deck to tie with too.
Analytical player.
Mm-hmm.
Known for taking some pretty long turns, but obviously a genius at the game. Okay, so what else did you guys want to talk about today?
Something that, I don't know, I guess I definitely noticed in the tournament, a theme was like ability lock. Like Garbodor and Silent Lab are in like almost every single deck, besides like Vespiquen. Honestly, besides like Vespiquen and Ray, I think that, I don't know. I think that that's something to acknowledge, is we don't really have a real counter to Garbodor, so it makes a lot of stuff that could be good like not at all.
It's crazy, it's crazy that we don't really have a great answer to it, other than just like hoping you can knock it out with a Lysander at some point in the game. I don't know.
It's unfortunate that our formats kind of like had to come to this, but Garbodor is needed to keep Greninja in check, and honestly, I'd rather not have Greninja be a viable deck than like let our abilities be rampant. Because if Garbodor didn't exist, Greninja would be by far the best deck in the format. I think
Lurantis even now there was like, a couple of good grass Pokemon released in Sun and Moon.
Yeah, but I mean, now it just wouldn't be the overwhelming best deck in the format. It would still be like the best deck in the format. Like you're not always gonna have perfect matchups across the board. Like you can't. No deck really. I can't think of whatever.
I mean, I understand. At the same time, though, I think my point is more about just like how I think it's kind of frustrating how Pokemon just keeps recycling the same ideas. For every new idea they print, it feels like we get 2 old ideas at the same time. I think I use this method of measurement a lot, but like Professor Juniper was legal has been legal since I was in high school. Like, and it's been a long time.
It's been legal for a long time. 2011.
Right. And it just feels like our format has, it's Sycamore now in standard, but still Juniper and expanded, but just still the same, way to play the game. Pokemon doesn't seem too interested in shaking that up at all. And then, Garbodor and Floatstone are still around. Those cards are pretty old too.
I do like how they kind of switched it up with Muck in that next rotation they're gonna have a pseudo Garbodor that's less broken, I guess.
Yeah. So. I don't know. It's just, I'm sure a lot of people share my frustrations, especially if you've been playing for as long as I have, or maybe even longer. It just feels like a long time ago. It was different enough every year. It was different enough every rotation, but especially since Versus Seeker 2, it's just kind of been the same old stuff. What do you guys have to counter to that? Especially since both of you haven't been playing as long as me, so maybe you guys have a different take, and I'm just have the rose-colored glasses for nostalgia.
I mean, I started
I'm not necessarily saying the game is worse because of it. It's just sort of.
I started in 2011, so right when the game really started to get stale, I guess. But yeah, I would agree that it's been pretty similar thematically throughout the entire thing, where if you pick up concepts back in 2011, they can still apply now. But at the same time, yes, while it does get stale, it also really helps people that play for a couple times and not for a couple years, excuse me, they can really start to get a hang of it, and instead of having to relearn something every year, it'll help increase the skill cap, which is why I think we're seeing people get better every single year now. So yeah.
Sure. Travis?
I honestly, I think I completely agree with Britt. I remember having to worry about Garbodor back when Landorus EX and Tornadus EX were very heavy in the meta, and that was 3 and 4 years ago. It gets a little old. I really hate seeing repeatedly Pokemon print all these neat, cool abilities on stage 2s that it's oh, I could make that work in something cool and fun, but Garbodor is good, and that literally just shuts off every single thing, and it can make any wacky, somewhat viable concept just completely null and void. And I think something that was noticed in Anaheim, all of the decks with Garbodor that did well played a 2-1 with a Super Rod, because that's all you need. You just 2-1 and 3 Floatstone is the minimum that you need.
Was that the case even with the Evatolda?
Correct. Nope. Igor and Jimmy played 2-1 with a Super Rod, and that is that's 6 cards in your deck to shut off, to make everything non-competitive that has an ability that could mess you up. That's only 6 cards, 7 cards you need in your deck. That's not very many. And Floatstone's already an insane tool, so it's not even that's in your way. Super Rod's not that hard. It's a recovery card. So those are 4 cards that are even are already justifiable in any deck. So it's really just the 2-1 Garb, and it's I don't know.
And so you have experience with the 2-1 Garb. Did you ever, did you think that was perfect? Did you ever oh man, I prized Garbodor? Did you ever have any of those games, or is it just sort of negligible because you've got another game? It's best of 3. That'll probably only happen once.
Exactly, and I never discarded it when I wanted to, or when I didn't want to, and honestly, there are only a handful of matchups that you need Garb in, and when those matchups come out, the chances of you prizing your Garb isn't very high. 2-1 was perfect. I completely agree with it. Especially the Super Rod makes it fine. Because even just having a Garb with a Floatstone on the field and just the Trubbish sitting there almost is enough by itself for your opponent not to go after it. Because just the fact that you could set it back up and they put themselves at odd prizes and still have to deal with 3 EXs is it's not worth it, because it doesn't progress their board, or they're when it doesn't progress their win condition that much, because especially Mewtwo and Yveltal decks that rely on attacking with the EXs, they're probably not going to get another non-EX if they kill the Garb, because you just won't give it to them. Mm-hmm. And you could just Rod Ultra Ball and just have it back out.
Okay.
They kill it, so
it makes sense. I'm not too surprised, but it does seem a little greedy, So looking forward, we still want to talk about Standard for a second here. Looking forward, do you guys foresee any major shifts in the metagame? I believe Utah in a couple months or so is the next Standard Regionals.
We have Australia coming up too.
Okay, there's the Australia tournament too. Gotcha. So let's talk Australia then briefly. Do you guys think we'll see mostly the same metagame, or is there like a shift you think will occur that will try to counter what we saw in the top 8 of Anaheim? And what would the biggest counters that come to mind be, you think?
I think. Go ahead.
Let's start with there.
I really like Gardevoir as a deck in Standard, and I don't think that deck saw very much play at all. I know Noah Sawyer did pretty well with it. I think he got top 16 maybe. I'm not 100% sure how he finished. I know he made day 2, and I was really intrigued by the deck. I've thought it was good for the past week or so. And
you did talk about it last episode too.
Yeah, I did, and I still think that deck has a lot of potential, especially now that Mega Mewtwo has come out on top as one of the best decks again. I think Gardevoir only gets better. So
do you think how do you think your Vespiquen matchup is, or is it just do you think Karen comes back into the metagame?
I think if you play Karen, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, my original list, more or less the first person to play Gardevoir to some success at a tournament, and at the Orlando Regionals, I did play Karen, and it was useless because no one was playing Vespiquen, but
yeah,
I feel like
Karen's
it's good enough.
I play Brox in my Gardevoir already, so it's a replacement for that. So
right, that would be my idea too. The norm for the list is Brox at this point.
Yeah.
But so Gardevoir, do you think? What about the sort of rogue decks we saw? Do you think those will see more play, like this the Solgaleo deck or the Waterbox deck? Do you think they're legit?
I think Waterbox is really bad. I'm surprised it did well, even though I know it had a lot of hype behind it. I think the deck is really bad, and you just get destroyed by Vespiquen, so I wouldn't touch that deck. I think Solgaleo has a bunch of potential, especially now that there was I don't think there was a single Volcanion in top 32, which
I was going to say that seems like a
thank the
factor.
Lord that deck is out of the meta. That deck is awful. I hate it. I am very glad that it's gone. It makes a lot of other decks viable because it had such unparalleled speed, but that was all it had. It just tons of speed. So now that's gone,
it's out of the meta just because everyone was playing Garb. I don't know. I'm still a fan. Like I said in the last episode, I was really into Volcanion, and I think I would have had a terrible time had I gone to Anaheim and played it. But I don't know. I feel like there's still a time and place, or maybe time and place for the deck, or maybe the way you play it just shifts more. I don't know.
I could
maybe you have to wait for the next set, but I think Volcanion will stick around. What do you think, Travis?
I think that Drew's the Solgaleo deck. I think that he should have won the tournament had he not just had the inconsistencies of the deck not showed themselves 2 rounds in a row. I definitely think that it's really good. And the 2 most popular partners for Garb were Yveltal and Mewtwo, and Solgaleo demolishes both of them. It has 250 HP and discards all of the energy to kill whatever they have active. So they can't respond to it. It's resistant to Psychic, so Mewtwo hits it for even less damage. It's really, really good against those decks because the only ability you're shutting off is Solgaleo's ability. I don't remember what it's called, but it's the switch.
It's something road.
Yeah. And the deck just plays 3 float stones anyway, so it's never an issue to move between Solgaleo and Lurantis.
Yeah.
And it just Drew had to play against Brad Curcio for his winning into day 2, and I watched their match, and I don't know. As long as that deck just sets up, then it can't lose. But for example, he lost to Ryan playing Mega, literally Igor's Dallas 60, and for his winning in, and it was just because the inconsistencies of the deck caught up with you because evolving is hard. But I mean, I think if the deck can remain consistent, then it's a great play because the only thing it really struggles with is the Vespiquen deck. And I think you could just play Karen and to kind of solve that problem. The only thing,
Volcanion, you can't be Volcanion either.
Yeah, but that's a problem that I think is unsolvable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Drew played 2 super odds, so playing a Karen is not unreasonable. Like you could just cut a rod for a Karen and still be able to get a lot of your Pokemon back.
Do you know what like the lines were like for his decks? I know that Solgaleo is a stage 2.
It was a 4-2-3 Solgaleo and a 2-2 Lurantis.
So you probably GX attacked with Solgaleo then.
Yep. You GX attack with Solgaleo first, and then like it kind of seems like you get Solgaleo out as fast as possible, excel all your energy, and then like
you just
kill stuff like that.
Yeah, you use Lurantis basically once you've once you've used Soul Burst for 230 and you use Lurantis just to like keep on powering up more. So you one turn you 230, the next turn you switch into it with the ability hit for 40, recharge another, then hit for 230 the next turn, and keep on doing that.
He also played a Genesect, which is pretty good. Like just like one of the metal Genesect that can hold tools.
Yeah, it's good to bump around Floatstones.
Yeah, it's good to bump around Floatstones. I mean, it can just be like a decent
attacker too.
Like against Gardevoir, like I don't know, it like is resistant to Psychic, so Gardevoir can't one-shot it. And like if you put 3 metals on that, Gardevoir just kind of loses, right? Like I don't really see how they beat that.
For sure.
And it's like better than using Solgaleo because it doesn't discard. So I don't know. It
seems like a good deck. I'm definitely surprised that it seems pretty slow. I mean, I assume he doesn't play rare candies.
No, he does. He plays 4 rare candy. Yes. Okay. It's a 4-3-3 with 4 rare candy. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, two super odd, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been years since rare candy was like a card.
Yeah.
The last decks I played there probably were Blastoise and Emboar.
And Polygon, I guess.
Good deck.
But
I like that deck.
But it's been a while where like the stage, like Empoleon's the only one in recent memory where the stage 2 has been like the attacker, right? It's like not just a support.
Yeah.
Like Blastoise and Emboar just supported a bunch of big basics, like because their abilities are insane. But like Solgaleo, it's like you're attacking with Solgaleo. He's like the bread and butter. Like that's what you want out. Mm-hmm. And I think
it's really cool. A really cool deck.
Yeah, I think it's really good and definitely worth testing for those looking forward to Utah.
Any other things you guys want to talk about, or are we gonna call it?
No, I think that's good. I guess I'll let Travis plug it, but look forward next week. We're getting ready for Standard. I know that Travis will not, but Eric and I will both be at the St. Louis tournament, or the Collinsville Regionals, which is expanded. So now it's sort of time to shift our focus away from Standard and start working on Standard expanded stuff. And I know I've spent a little bit of time, but we'll definitely have more by next week. And so expect the next Hovercast episode to be fully devoted to our findings in expanded for the Sun and Moon format.
Mm. And for those that are interested, I'm going to be releasing a more detailed tournament report going over the Mewtwo deck, the card choices, and kind of my matchups every round, how that stuff went. It'll be coming out tomorrow for those that are interested. And I think that's all we have for today, right?
Yeah, look forward to some expanded content as well before our next roundtable as well. So.
All right. Well, this was Hovercast. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We are quality Pokemon TCG content and discussion for all ages, and we look forward to discussing Pokemon with you guys again.